Hello there, Corey with Statin Mobility and Performance. Hope everyone's having a great day. Today I just wanted to go over a mobility sequence that I use before every leg session or even deadlift session. It's going to open up your hips. I call it the recipe for anti-butt wink. When you squat real deep, your butt kind of tucks under sometimes from really tight ankles and hips. This will definitely help get rid of it. So this first stretch here, I don't really know the specific name for it. I call it a frog stretch. It's because your legs kind of look like frog legs all sprawled out. On this one, you really want the knees as open as you can get them. You want a 90-degree angle at the knee joint and at the ankle joint. You want to focus on sitting as deep as you can into it and letting the band distract the hip backwards. You want to stretch out. You'll get a nice stretch throughout your lats, and you can arch your back and intensify the stretch. After this, we're going to switch into a pigeon stretch. So we're going to bring the band around one hip. You want it as high as you can to the hip. It's a little harder for males than females. So here, you want to bring the knee at a right angle in the joint again. We really want to stretch into this one and try and arch your back as much as you can. And there you see me jabbing my right glute. That is to tell you to tighten that glute. When you tighten it, it's going to push your hip forward, and you're going to get a really deep stretch on that right hip flexor. On these stretches, I typically hold them from anywhere to 2 to 4 minutes. I don't do rounds of them. I just knock it out in sequence and hit my workout. Same thing on the opposite leg here. See the 90-degree angle I'm forming? And I'm taking my left hand and pinning that foot to the floor so it doesn't go anywhere. And here I'm touching the glute again to show you to push forward on it to get that hip stretched. Like I said, as long as you want to sit here, it's going to intensify the stretch. The more you arch your back and the longer you stay in it, the better it's going to feel when you come out of it. From here, go ahead and put the band back high on our hips. This is going to be a great stretch for our glutes, our hamstrings, and our calves. If you notice, I'm walking the stretch out and my heels are not leaving the floor. You want to get as much stretch throughout those muscles as you can. So by walking it out and back in, I find that the muscles kind of they get a chance to soften up through the range of motion you're creating. This is one of my favorite stretches. It feels very good compared to the rest. From here, we'll go ahead and flip over to our back. Now we're going to try and open up our hip flexors a little bit. So here I put the band around one leg, get it deep in the hip, and back up to load the band with tension. So then we sit here, and you can judge this one by how tight it feels. Always putting that foot over the knee is going to intensify the stretch. Here in a second, I'm going to add in another intensifier where you hold the ankle and you're going to push the knee away. By doing that, you're going to feel a lot more tension in your hip, and you can really make it a good stretch. By rotating from side to side, you get a little bit of different pull in different areas of the hip. This side, same thing. Load the band really close to the hip, pulling the knee back. And then to intensify it, we're going to bring the foot over the knee, and we're going to push the knee away. Now, depending on how well your body is, able to stretch, that's going to change how much pressure you can put on that knee. Some people can't put a lot. Some people can put a tremendous amount. Now we're going to go on to ankle mobility. This is a very important one here. So we put the band, I try and get it under the tongue of my shoe. This one, you don't want to load the band too much, but you want pressure against the ankle. It's a little difficult to get onto the platform, but once you get the hang of it, it's not so bad. You can really lunge on that back leg. Now all we're doing is taking the knee and putting it over the toe and bringing it back. By doing that, we're getting a very good stretch on the back of the calf, the Achilles tendon area. You'll really feel the difference. Now when you want to intensify it, you bend down and we're going to perform a runner's stretch or a runner's lunge. You're going to feel it deep in the hamstring And you don't, by straightening the leg out, it's creating that intensity, and then right when it's too much, you can bend the knee again, and you can warm the muscle by going in and out with the stretch. Same thing on the other side. Remember, we want the band deep on the ankle, under the toe of the shoe. And make sure you really plant your foot, because if not, the band is going to take you for a ride. And as I said, I'm doing this really fast. You can take your time. There's no set number that you need to spend on each one, but it definitely will make a difference the more you focus and the more time you put into it. This one being one of my favorite stretches, it's going to really help with your flexibility when you go deep into a squat. So with this one, we take the band, we're going to put it flat like a belt, put it around the back of our waist just like a belt. We're going to sit against the wall, slightly bend down, and we're going to hook that band around the kneecap, and then we're going to stretch the other side and hook it around the other kneecap. We're going to sink into a squat. Now we're practicing mobility here, so our toes are straight. They're not ducked out or tucked in. And then by drawing our butt and low back against the wall, we're going to brace our core and sink deep into the squat. And we're going to tuck our chin and pull our head to the wall. We're going to sit in posture on this one. The deeper you get into the squat, the more intense you're going to feel the band pull on your hips. When you come out of this one, you're going to feel a lot better than you did before you got in it. It's definitely one of my favorites. This is really going to get the inner thighs. Not much of a band stretch on this one. You want your feet on the outside of the collars of the barbell. It's going to give you an adequate stretch. And to intensify this stretch, you can just change the alignment of your back. So see how I'm rounded over? As I get more flexible, I will be able to arch my back more and straighten it into posture. And it's going to intensify the way this feels. Well, thank you guys for viewing this, and have a great day.